everyone. My name is Salzar. Thank you for tuning in again and Our Ventura TV. I'm joined by my colleague here, Elijah Tindall, and I'm very excited to talk about the topic of comedy. Elijah, thank you for coming on today.
Hey, thank you, man.
Hey, cool, man. Hey,
the Charlie Rose show here.
Yeah, it is. This is very
nice. I like the table
you like that?
you provided for me.
Well, I
and my tired arms.
So tell me a little bit about those tattoos. No. Let's talk about comedy.
Yeah.
So you're a comedian. Let's start at the beginning for our audience. Tell us a little bit about what got you into comedy. Like, what's your background with it?
I've been actually in communication for close to 20 years now. So I started around one. I'm around 20. Yeah. No, but I started actually in radio. I was in radio first. Yeah. As a teenager, I didn't have anywhere to go after I graduated high school. Matter of fact, I wasn't going to graduate high school. The counselors called me in and they said, "Hey, listen, you have to get 3 more credits. The only way you can do that is go to this off-site campus thing for half a day and gain the credits there is a VOTEC deal." And I was like, "You had me at off-site." And so I went there. I took the radio broadcasting course, and the instructor, his name was Mr. Bob, and he said, "Hey, rock jock, I think you got a future in this." And then I looked at my other options as a future, and I was like, "I think you may be right." And so I got involved in that. I kind of applied myself for the first time, and I became a guy named Skywalker, FM 104 KKYK pneumonia, and so that's what I did. Wow. And I ended up working for the #1 station in that market as a teenager. By the time I was 17.
And where was this at?
This was in Little Rock, Arkansas.
There we go.
Or as we like to call it, Lotta Rock, Arkansas. If you're from there,
and I'm from Little Rock too. So there we go.
Yeah. We call it Lotta Rock because every Coliseum tour that would come through there. This was back in the '80s, and so all the the Bon Jovis, all those guys, they'd always come in and I know this place is called Little Rock, but tonight, as if they were the first ones to ever say this, we're going to make it Lotta Rock. And I was like, yeah, Warren said that last week. Yes. So anyway, I became a radio guy.
Okay.
And merged from radio to doing communication in youth ministry, actually, and so that kind of skilled my on-stage craft, and then I merged into comedy for various reasons. But what was ironic about the whole thing is that I used to have a really, really bad stuttering habit. Like even my 5th grade teacher as a kid told me, whatever you do in life, you'll never be able to talk for a living. And that's pretty much what I have always done, is talk for a living. Right. So take that.
There you go. And so what brought you into kind of the professional world of comedy? And here as a local, now you've been in Ventura for a number of years. Tell us a little bit about the local kind of comic scene.
I love the local comic scene because it's very friendly, very friendly. Ventura is the best and worst place to test out your material, I think. The best place because it gives you a certain confidence, because Venturans are so kind. Like when you test your material out here, even if you're not funny, if they know you're from Ventura, they're like, it's like your mom coming. It's like, yeah, that's our guy, that's funny, and they're 2 drinks in, so they don't know. Yeah. But they are very friendly, and then you take that out on the road, where like to a New York City, and they're not as friendly about your poorly written joke. But I love working Ventura. Ventura is just great. I live in Ventura, so I don't work the comedy scene over here as much as I do out on the road, because I like to be home when I'm home. Got 3 kids and whatnot. So
well, let's talk about that kind of going on the road, staying at home, things like that.
So I told you that's the only thing I won't talk about.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let's talk about.
No, I'm kidding.
Let's talk about that with clean comedy. So you're a clean comic. That was one of the things that I love about your work, is you're clean. You work on clean. Tell me about, how is it being a clean comic in today's marketplace? The clubs and what's going on there. Right.
I think it's just a smart business plan to work clean and to write clean, because if you write what they would call blue collar or dirty or blue comedy, when I say blue collar, I don't mean the redneck jokes. I mean just anything off. What happens is that stuff works a lot of times in places that are clubs. clubs, and if you want to make a living doing comedy, working in clubs, that's great. That's, you know, you can carve out a good living doing that. But what happens is the higher paying jobs and you've got to be able to do something that's not going to be not just offensive, but unsafe. You want to be someone that's safe, and as someone who hires you for a corporate comedy thing or something outside of the comedy club, because comedy clubs can be deceiving, because most comedy clubs you go into, they have a 2-drink minimum, and so it's easy to get a laugh out of someone with just a cheap word or an expression, or even I'm half Mexican, half white boy, and so I can pull on a lot of times. If I want to just get a quick laugh, I just go into the Hispanic mode and do do the orale, what's going on today, like that, and people like that. But if you saw it on paper written, it wouldn't be that funny. And so doing clean comedy and writing clean, it's just a good business plan. Now for me, there's multiple reasons I do it. One of the reasons I started comedy was because when I was a youth pastor, I saw the influence that the entertainment industry had on the youth culture, and I kind of got upset about a lot of that stuff. And I was like, well, you know, it's got such an impact. And then I came to the realization that you can't replace something with nothing. And so for me to get upset about something that did exist, that was negative, and do nothing to provide a positive, it just wasn't common sense. And so what I thought is, you know what, I'll start doing comedy, and I'll make it clean, and I'll make it the content quality, where by the end of one of my shows, my hope is that you didn't see me as a clean comic, you just saw me as a quality comic. And then you realize later, he never said anything offensive. We could literally have our 5-year-old kid in that same room, and it would have been okay.
Do you feel that writing clean is maybe more challenging, or it has to be smarter, perhaps, because it has to be clean, or is that not really?
I think it could be both. I mean, I've heard. When I say I do clean, that doesn't mean I'm anti anything else. I think whatever works for that person if it comes out of who they are. From the abundance of your heart, that's what your mouth is going to speak. And so what you're full of, that's what's going to come out of you. And that can be funny no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that other stuff isn't funny. So it can be just as difficult writing unclean comedy as it can be clean comedy, but I just think it's smarter, if you will, to write clean, because it works everywhere and you're not having to be censored by everybody.
That's true. So tell me about, you mentioned ministry and kind of some of the venues you go out. Tell us a little bit about, you know, besides the clubs, besides that circuit, where do you kind of, you know, what's it like performing in other places, and how does that kind of work?
Right. Well, for me, my content pretty much stays the same. My biggest obstacle going to places like I do a lot of like family fun days at churches. And imagine this showing up to your church. It's one thing in the Bible when you celebrate the donkey spoke, you know, to the people, but when the donkey shows up at your church, that's so there I am. And the first introduction is visual, and visually I can be like, but then when they realize, oh, he's not saying anything real. That's but the content is always going to be the same with me. It's, you know, I don't care if I'm in a club in West Hollywood, in a casino, or in a strict, very ultra conservative church. It's always going to be the same. And my stuff's high energy, it's storytelling comedy, and so the visual may change a little bit. I may glam up a little more if I'm in West Hollywood, but I'm still going to be, you know, this right here is my conservative look.
This is pretty glam, can I say, right? I mean,
well, no, this is me going to the grocery store on Monday.
Oh, this is grocery store. I thought you got spruced up for us.
No, I didn't get dolled up today. I toned it down.
Well, tell me a little bit about, we've talked about kind of comedy, your writing, local stuff. Tell me how does that fit into you doing help for others in the community? Like, you know, I want to hear about how you're a comedian, you're a performer, you're an entertainer, but now how does that kind of work into your ethics of helping people?
Right. I think if we're smart about it, comedy can be used as a hinge. And that hinge can open a lot of doors. And so where I, as a communicator, may not be able to go in and do a motivational speech or something like that in a public school for anti-bullying as just a motivational speaker or a communicator or a preacher or a minister or whatever the case may be, as a comedian, it's a hinge that really opens a lot of doors because everyone likes comedy.
Right.
Even if they say they don't. They do.
Yeah.
They like to laugh.
Right.
And you know that quote that says, people don't always remember what you say, they don't always remember what you do, but they always remember how you make them feel.
That's right.
It's right there. And so if you can make them feel, and that's what comedy does, it brings you to that feeling. It's also been said that laughter does good like a medicine. And so what a medicine does is a medicine doesn't heal you of what's wrong. A medicine numbs you. So that way something else can take part and the healing process can begin. And so comedy in community service, in areas of hurt and tragedy, comedy can really be used as a medicine to help numb the pain temporarily, and then you associate yourself with other corporations, with other associations that will come in and help the victims of a tornado tragedy.
Right.
Well, if I can go in there and I can do some fundraisers, free shows, so that way a Red Cross or someone else, a big organization can come in and help and do what they do, I can rally the people together to do that and help them to remember to laugh.
Yeah, that's great. Who would you say you pattern your comedy after? So our audience can kind of get a feel for who inspires you. Give me some names of, you mentioned, I know you're a storyteller. You like to kind of do long form comedy. What are some kind of people that really inspire you?
Well, I mean, I guess, every comic has to say,
Top three.
They have to always start with Lenny Bruce, but Lenny Bruce wasn't an influence on me.
No,
so I know I'm ostracized from the comedy community, but I do have I have another one that everyone says, Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Cosby.
And
I look at Bill Cosby as an inspiration because of the storytelling, because of the way he'll just sit down and communicate. Now it's a completely different style than I do. Mine is more if you will, Jack Sparrow-y drunken pirate type presentation, but the storytelling element is just because you find yourself in stories. You know, there's characters in the stories, and that makes you connect with it. And so I would say, okay, the top three in mine: Steve Martin, Bill Cosby, and I'm going to leave the third one for anyone else to want to put yours in there because I don't want to disassociate myself with the.
Cool, man. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time. We've got just a few more minutes here. So,
you said this would be an all-day telethon show.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm sorry, budget cuts. We had to close it down early. Well, so anyway, why don't we end with telling our audience where can we find you?
Like my address?
Your address, phone number, PIN number.
No, I got you.
Your website.
My website is www.elijahTindall.com, and that website will pretty much link you to everything else. And so I'm on Facebook, under the name. If you don't know how to use Facebook, then well, I don't know what to say. Right. But and Twitter and all the stuff like that. But pretty much my website is where I want to drive you to because that helps the other people feel like I'm valuable.
There you go.
So there you go.
Okay, well, I want to thank you again. It's been great to have you, brother. It's good to see you again. And I want to thank everybody for watching our show today on Our Ventura TV. My name is Andres Salzar. I'm here with Elijah Tindall. Thank you very much, and have a great day.